Welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV. I'm here with Dan outside the Emirates after a bitterly disappointing 3-0 loss to Man City after the third game of 7 days where we had the highs of West Ham, the jubilations of Liège, and now we've got the bitter misery of Man City. Dan, you had some really positive numbers for West Ham, positive numbers for Liège. I'm imagining that the mood of the player rating is going to be slightly different this week.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, basically, Serge. My man of the match will start with him because, you know, he's been Arsenal's best player this season. Burnt Leno, gave him a 7. I thought he made some really brilliant saves. That one in the first half and De Bruyne was fantastic.
When he palmed it off onto the post.
Tip it onto the post. Yeah. I don't know how he got there. I don't think he really could have done a lot about the 3 goals. He's obviously not got a lot of help in front of him. So yeah, 7. I thought he was decent.
Yeah, he's definitely our player of the season so far.
Well, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Right, one of the big problems we had was our defence in this game, and I'm imagining the defensive lineup aren't going to be particularly praised here.
This is where it gets brutal.
Well, do you want to start the full-backs or do you start centre-backs?
Well, I want to put it this way. For 3 of the ratings, they add up to 5.5 for 3 players. So this is just an idea of how bad it is.
Right, well,
so we'll start with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I gave him a 2.5. Yeah. He's just not a defender.
No.
He just can't defend.
No.
But the thing with him is, I don't know whether he's a winger or a midfielder either. I don't know whether he's got the quality. I don't see a lot of him where I think you could do better in another position. I really don't know where his future lies, and that's a massive concern for him.
I mean, he did look at points like he had a bit of a shining light going forward. He was moving forward, but once again, defensively, he's just not there. And it's not his position, is it?
For that second goal, especially the one where De Bruyne just kind of weaves his way in and out and crosses for Sterling, it was just all too easy. One of the 3 of them should have committed, and coming down that side, you've got to think it probably Maitland-Niles who has to do the job. So he's just got to improve defensively. If he doesn't, I don't think there's a future in for Arsenal. I don't mean to be harsh, but I just don't know where his best position is.
Yeah. Well, how about the centre backs? Let's.
Do you want to start with the good one or the bad one?
Let's start with the good one.
Callum Chambers, 2.
Oh God.
Just so poor defensively. I think the real moment where he showed that was when he gave the ball away in the second half and just allowed Jesus to run through.
Yeah.
It just wasn't proactive enough. There wasn't a point where he stepped out. I think there was one point where I counted where he just stepped out and won the ball. Just didn't do it enough. Someone has to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And
they looked really out of sorts there in defence. And
well, I wouldn't say out of sorts. It was more of the same, really. Just a bit worse than normal. So yeah, 2 for Callum Chambers.
Oh God! And then your favourite? Who's next?
If Sokratis a 1, which I probably thought was being a bit generous.
Actually, I think for Chambers, actually, he made some shocking decisions.
Honestly, just awful.
Yeah.
For a player of his experience, he has to do better. He has to be the one leading it. But he is the main problem. There's no pace. There's no kind of intensity of moving the ball out. There's no, his positional sense is just void. It's not there. He doesn't know where he should be and where he needs to be. He can't play. I'd rather have someone like Zach Medley play. I'm not even joking.
What about David Luiz?
No, he's even worse. He gets a 0. No, I'm joking. The one defender who I thought did okay was Kolasinac before he came off.
Yeah.
Maybe could have done more for City's second goal. Could have been closer to Sterling, picking him up in the box. But he was one of, I think, probably counted 3 players who looked like they actually wanted to get forward and do something. Who ran with any intensity or purpose. I gave him a 5.
I think a 5 fair. I think in the middle of the pitch he was making some really good scrappy tackles, stopping their attack when they were moving forwards, because they're so good at moving forward, City. So he was quite instrumental in stopping them. And it's a real unfortunate that another fullback of ours has gone off injured.
Well, we've got no left back now, so
no.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to the middle of the park.
Right, I'll give you the same question. Do you want the good or the bad first?
Let's start with the bad.
Matteo Guendouzi, 2.
He was very slow in transition.
Ever since Leif's good friend Dan came on here and made an analogy about him being like a greyhound and just running around, I just notice it more and more. He just runs and he runs to absolutely no effect.
Yeah, and he's really bad at actually getting the ball out of his feet when we need to move quickly. Yeah. He looks so long to try and make a pass and to pick someone out. He just looks so slow in transition, which is obviously something Freddie mentioned in your press conference views.
Yeah, well, just...
So, alright.
He's out of position so many times as well. Just him and Torreira have got to communicate better.
Yeah.
And one's got to drop into Martin De Bruyne or whoever they're playing against in there. They've got to work together as a unit. But they're both up the pitch, and there's just the biggest gap between them and the defence, which obviously isn't helping the defence. Yeah. They've been poor as well, but they've got to do more. They've got to take responsibility. It's got to be better.
Well, what about Torreira then?
Slightly better. I gave him a 3.
I'll probably give him a 4, 4.5, something like that. I think a 3 is probably a bit low.
No, because what would you expect Torreira's one job to be?
Well, yeah, okay, fine.
His one job would be to go and mark Kevin De Bruyne. And so many occasions where I'd watch him and he'd be 10, 15 yards away. You can't allow a player of Kevin De Bruyne's quality to be that far away from you. You've got to be on him all the time.
Yeah, I did notice tactically the defenders seem to be just dropping off of the City players, not going to them.
There's no one taking responsibility. No one is stepping up. It's not good enough. It's really not. And again, he was another one who was just pushed forward and just leaving loads of space behind him. It's got to do better.
Well, let's move further up the pitch then. Mesut Ozil, how did he rate in your ratings?
A 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to read you what I wrote, and I'm just going to do it at length because there were so many points. I'm going to forget them all. I just wrote, never looked like he'd make anything happen. Too slow, too weak, even looked disinterested at times, especially when coming off for the hour with a disgraceful show of petulance. To think Aaron Ramsey was let go while Mesut Ozil was given a bumper new deal is shocking. There you go. I
can't actually disagree with many of those points. Mesut Ozil's been a divisive character in our podcast for the past few weeks. His performance today just looked very lumbering. It just didn't look like he wanted to play. And I think obviously he's got a lot on his mind. He's obviously gotten a bit of a telling off from the higher ups about his social media activity in terms of saying about the whole China thing, so maybe that's playing in his mind.
Whatever, okay, that's off the pitch, but on the pitch you've got to put out your head and do better. And to be subbed shows that he wasn't good enough, but to then just go and volley your gloves across the technical area is just such a childish thing to do.
Very childish.
He's just so immature.
Seems to be an ongoing problem we've got with defenders being subbed off and they're not happy about it. They act petulant.
Well, as soon as when he got subbed off and he started walking off, I just thought this is going to be the Granit Xhaka thing all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the boost started and he just kept walking and walking. Didn't throw a shirt on the floor like Xhaka looked like he had, but to volley the gloves is just ridiculous. What are you doing? Just grow up, seriously.
Well, a player that's quite young and will grow up into the Arsenal squad at some point. Let's go to Martinelli. He must have been a bright light in your ratings.
Yeah, I gave him a 6.5.
That's better. That's more positive.
Well, great. No. To be fair to him, I thought he probably worked harder than anyone else for Arsenal, and he really ran his socks off. I think he had the only shot on target Arsenal had all game, which came inside the first 60 seconds, which says it all.
Yeah, that first 30 seconds were amazing.
If anyone looked, I thought after a minute, I thought we've got this here, we're going to win, and then 30 seconds later, the ball's in the back of the net.
If only.
But no, seriously, Martinelli, someone who I think really is just keen to impress, and that you can see that in the way he plays. He does everything with urgency, and he wants to make an impression. So fair play to him, and I think he has to be one of the first names on the team sheet at this point, because who else looks like they actually want to play?
Yeah. Well, a player that I thought looked like he was Pepe. Pepe looked like he was a real bright light in that first half.
I gave Pepe 5.5. I thought in terms of what he produced, there was very little, but he looked like he might make something happen.
Yeah.
He was one of the few who actually looked like they might cause City problems. I don't think he got enough help from Maitland-Niles in terms of attacking down that side.
So he was having to cover Maitland-Niles not tracking forward enough quite often.
He was basically having to take on two defenders at once, where you should have the full-back drag him one out or drag him one inside.
I don't know if you saw it from the press box, there was one moment where he was being harangued by two defenders and he managed to flick it behind him and nutmeg one of them.
He produced some lovely bits of skill, but
one of the things we noticed, especially we'll move on to Aubameyang next, is that when he put the ball in, there was no one there to collect it. So what did you give Aubameyang? I thought he looked quite
3.
distant in this game. I think that's probably quite fair.
Well, you say distant, almost invisible throughout is what I put to start with.
I mean, because there were a lot of times when the ball went in.
Yeah, I've moaned this season about him not having a lack of service. I think there was plenty of balls into the box, as you say, but there just wasn't any movement. There was time and time again where he was just stood behind the defender. He's got to be darting to the near post or making some kind of move to create some space.
Especially against Man City's defence, and the Man City defence are quite strong, quite powerful.
You've got Otamendi, who is their third, fourth choice centre-back and has looked shaky all season. Then you've got Fernandinho, who, fair play to him, he is a world-class midfield player, but he's not a centre-half.
No.
Go and cause some problems. Well, make a movement that will throw
that's why I thought Pepe
looked
something. That's why Pepe looked good, because he was pushing in Mendy, and Mendy was the one looking in real struggle there. So we were, that first half, really pushing down that side, that wing, to try and force an issue and an error out of Mendy.
Yeah.
And with Aubameyang trying to push Otamendi, that should have happened, but he seemed to be once again just a little bit invisible in this game, which is quite concerning for the club captain.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the subs then. First sub.
Well, Saka and Smith Rowe both go for 5.5. I thought, they didn't really make much of an impact. Obviously, Saka was playing out of position at left back, but they worked hard and they tried, and that's what I want. At this point, I'd rather just play the youngsters. Whether it goes wrong or right, at least they're going to look like they care.
I think Emil Smith Rowe should take a lot of heart in the fact that he was chosen to come on for Mesut Ozil. That shows a lot of faith in his ability and skill.
I've said it time and time again. I'm such a big fan of it, and I'd like to see him start more.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd just chuck the youngsters in. We've got we've got nothing to lose now. And at least they're gonna run around and show a bit of bottle and a bit of heart and play for the shirt. Because a lot of them in there didn't and haven't throughout the season.
I think that's fair. I can tell you've got some high ratings for Lundberg, so what's the last sub? What did you give?
Didn't give one a rating, it also came on quite late. Probably I felt a bit harsh to give him a rating.
Do you think he looked like he was going to do anything, or do you think it was just not enough time?
Not enough time. I mean, you're in a game where you're not going to see the ball playing against Man City, so not really fair to give him a rating. As for Ljungberg's rating, I'll give Freddie Ljungberg a 4.
Fair. Half of what you got at Liège, and it was half the performance. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I feel really sorry for him because he's got a group of players who I can't be bothered. Yeah. And he's clearly a bit out of his depth. I want him to. I so want him to do well. He's a lovely bloke. Yeah. He's an Arsenal man through and through, and I really want him to do well. But I just don't think it's going to work. I think it's come too much too soon for him, and he looks just way too far out of his depth at the moment. And it's no disservice to him because he's been thrown into probably the most difficult job in football management at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
And I really don't know what we kind of expected from him, but he's, as I said in the press video, you know, been really dignified. He's shown that he cares and he's shown that he loves this club, and I can't fault him for that. But he's not the man for the job.
Well, there you have it. Some pretty slating player ratings from Dan, who's now taken over the new mantle as Grumpy Glenn. He's now Grumpy Dan. So keep an eye out for the next video coming up. You'll have the match reaction videos, and obviously you'll have Dan going through the press box interview with Freddie Ljungberg and Pep Guardiola. That's all from us with the disappointing 3-0 loss to Man City at a cold, drizzly and grey Emirates. So let's hope that next week's got some highlights with Everton away. See you next time. All right.
Excellent. Brilliant.